results. Production note for voice actors. Whenever the name Murty is spoken, the T must be enunciated clearly and sharply. M-U-R-T-Y. Under no circumstances should it be softened into a D sound. No Murty.
Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll. I'm the mentor of the Antaryami VA Academy, and I'll be acting as your wisdom seeker today, really focusing on how we cultivate learning and build this concept of Gurukul 2.0. Joining me to dissect the actual mechanics behind all of this is the architect of Antaryami.
Yeah, it's fantastic to be here. I mean, as the architect, I'm totally putting on the hat of the strategic auditor today. My lens is entirely on the structural integrity of this digital migration, right? The workflows, the hard economics, and the tangible infrastructure that actually forces these massive ideas to function in the real world.
Exactly. And for you listening to us right now, we really need to set the parameters for what you're about to hear. Because today we're looking at how a world-class, fully operational digital tech academy is being run in rural India, entirely unbothered by, get this, a 2-hour total grid power failure. Yeah, using hardware that cost absolutely nothing up front. It's wild.
Right. So we're not just summarizing a few feasibility reports here. This is a full Gurukul session. We are looking at this ecosystem through the Digital Prism, and our core mission is to extract the absolute legacy code of Project Antaryami. It's this living, breathing ecosystem that takes incredibly high-level philosophy and grounds it into tactical rural empowerment.
It really is a fascinating bridge between the abstract and the concrete. But, if we're going to extract that legacy code, we have to start at the absolute bedrock, how raw knowledge is actually captured in the first place and transformed into an actionable strategy.
Right, the AI notes.
Exactly. I've been analyzing the Gemini-generated AI notes from the Antaryami VA Academy sessions, specifically those sessions from June 17th, 21st, and 29th. And what really stands out to me is the sheer, brutal, tactical clarity being captured.
I saw those same notes, and as the mentor, I'm reading them, and I'm just struck by how they capture the underlying philosophy, right? Not just the keystrokes.
Well, absolutely.
Like, the AI is picking up on the shift from focusing on standard, buzzwordy personal branding to a much deeper substantive concept of professional digital management. It's actually capturing the importance of asking second-order questions regarding conversion values.
Yeah, distinguishing between educational philosophy and technical friction.
But, okay, I have to push back on you right out of the gate here. Isn't this just advanced transcription? I mean, you and I both know we've had AI taking meeting notes for years now. We get a summary, we get some bullet points. How is this actually any different?
No, I totally get why you would say that, but no. This is exactly what we mean by a digital prism. It's fundamentally different from a transcript because it isn't just recording what was said. It's instantly translating a founder's exact cognitive process into a deployable corporate asset.
Okay, like a brain download.
Basically. Think of it less like meeting minutes and more like a direct structural download to a virtual assistant's brain. For VAs operating in this ecosystem, like Krishna Gunam or Hussein Basha, these notes act as a ready-made, fully baked standard operating procedure.
Let's unpack the mechanics of that, though, because cognitive downloads sounds great in a boardroom, but how does that practically look for Krishna or Hussein when they actually sit down at their laptops?
Okay, well, let's look at the June 17th session. Instead of a VA having to sit down, open a video file, and scrub through a 2-hour lecture trying to decipher what their boss wants.
Which takes forever.
Right, takes hours. Instead, they jump straight into a section titled Market Research Implementation. The SOP dictates exactly how to execute lead generation for highly specific niches, like textile retailers and hardware stores in Kurnool.
Wow, okay.
And the system explicitly outlines using Google Maps to qualify those leads using a Score 6 system.
Let me stop you there. What exactly is a Score 6 system?
Oh, it's a qualification matrix. They aren't just looking for any business, right? They're specifically hunting for businesses that have a high lifetime customer value, but possess incredibly poor local search rankings and a super weak digital footprint.
Ah, so prime targets for digital upgrade.
Exactly. And the SOP dictates that to qualify, the VA must enter 4 distinct data points into their spread feeds. They need the exact business name, the precise physical location data, contact routing, and the current SEO baseline score.
Because if you don't have those exact 4 points, you can't accurately pitch a digital transformation package.
Bingo. The AI notes spell this out step by step.
That is incredibly precise. I mean, it completely removes all the guesswork from the VA's plate.
And here is the real mechanical magic timestamp navigation.
Oh, the clickable timestamps.
Yeah. The AI notes include exact clickable timestamps. So it'll say at 004903, a manual research demonstration happened on screen.
Oh, I see.
So if Hussein gets confused about how to execute a specific competitor analysis for, say, MS Gold jewelry makers, he doesn't guess. He just clicks the timestamp, watches a 2-minute targeted demonstration, and goes right back to executing the task on their Airtable VA task assignment board or in FreeCamp. It completely eliminates the friction of information retrieval.
Right. The knowledge capture is virtually instantaneous. It quite literally turns a conversation into a machine. But here's the thing. You've got this frictionless digital capture in the ether, sure, but ideas in the cloud are cheap.
That's right.
The second you try to pull that cloud down into a physical building in a rural setting like Arikirevula, you usually hit a massive wall of capital expenditure. So how did they avoid burning millions of rupees just to set up desks, internet, and computers?
Well, this is where the feasibility reports from early June read like a masterclass in a low-cost, high-impact model. The Arikirevula branch is built on an absolutely brilliant pivot to a zero Capex strategy.
Wait, zero capital expenditure. That sounds great on a spreadsheet, but you cannot run a high-tech digital academy out of thin air. You need infrastructure. Where's the catch?
The catch is strategic repurposing. Instead of buying brand new hardware, they heavily utilized hardware that was already owned by the network.
What?
Yeah. By doing this, a budget of roughly 25,000 to 35,000 rupees that would normally have been burned on upfront laptops and routing equipment was completely preserved.
And redirected.
Exactly. That capital was redirected entirely toward daily operational runway and targeted recruitment. And because they aren't paying off hardware debt, the recurring economics are just staggering. I mean, they secured this physical space for merely 3,000 rupees a month in rent, plus about 1,000 rupees for basic amenities.
So the overhead is literally 4,000 rupees a month. With numbers like that, the entire pressure cooker of a startup just vanishes.
Exactly. Your break-even point becomes mathematically trivial. They become cash flow positive with just 5 students. 5. From a structural auditing standpoint, that gives the operation an incredible amount of resilience. It is essentially unkillable by the normal financial pressures that destroy most rural educational startups in their first year.
But again, I have to play the skeptic here. If the rent is only 3,000 rupees a month, what about the quality of the infrastructure? You can't run a Gurukul out of a dilapidated shed and expect high-paying clients or even the students themselves to take the output seriously. How did they secure a viable space for that price?
That is where the local networking comes in. According to the logistical data in the reports, the space was strategically secured from the ex-Munsif of Arikirevula.
Okay, for you listening, we really need to pause here. That is a highly influential local Chowdhury family with strong ties to the TDP political party. And looking at this purely from a logistical and operational standpoint, completely setting aside the local TDP politics, as we are absolutely not endorsing any party or taking political sides here.
No, of course not. Purely objective.
Right. But partnering with an established, influential family like that is a brilliant chess move. It instantly bypasses the usual bureaucratic friction of setting up a business in a rural village.
Precisely. It isn't just about cheap rent. It is a strategic local partnership that roots the center deeply into the community framework. It provides a geographical anchor, a layer of operational stability, and frankly, serious social proof within the village ecosystem.
And that brings me directly to the human element, which, as the wisdom seeker here, is what I honestly find most compelling. The lean infrastructure is a marvel, but who is actually sitting in those seats? The target demographic here is remarkably specific.
It really is.
They are targeting educated, married women aged 20 to 42, specifically from Arikirevula and 5 surrounding villages, including Pasividala and Nandmuru.
And the demographic data shows a highly concentrated talent pool of about 900 to 1,100 potential candidates in that specific radius alone.
Right. And this feeds directly into what they're calling the 100 Women Mission, which actively includes training ex-Sachivalayam women, women who already have experience in village secretariat systems. Think about the sociological impact of this.
It's huge.
We are talking about taking a demographic that already has foundational education, deep community roots, and often immense untapped potential due to geographic limitations, and completely empowering them through this low-friction digital model. It's profoundly transformative.
It is a massive unlock of human capital.
Mm-hmm.
But bridging the gap between identifying that demographic and actually teaching them requires a physical interface. How do you take a low-rent rural building and turn it into a frictionless, modern learning environment?
This is where we see the physical embodiment of Gurukul 2.0. The layout is intentionally designed to separate active broadcast teaching from focused, deep work learning. You have a dedicated broadcast room where the online classes are run, entirely insulated from the work floor or the big room where the students are actually operating.
Along with a waiting hall and a small kitchen.
Exactly. A little kitchen to make coffee or meals, and the whole office is surrounded by greenery. It's not designed to feel like a corporate cubicle farm. It is designed as a sanctuary.
But a sanctuary in rural India still has to overcome massive physical friction points. Let's look at internet connectivity, for example. A lot of people assume you need an expensive, dedicated fiber backbone to run a digital academy. They are running this entire operation on a standard 4G connection.
Oh, come on. A 4G connection handling concurrent video broadcasting. Anyone who has tried to join a Zoom call from a rural highway knows that is usually a recipe for disaster.
That's the assumption. But they actually stress tested it. They ran 2 concurrent live classes at the Arikirevula office simultaneously on that 4G network, and there was absolutely zero buffering.
Zero.
It completely shatters the barrier to entry. It proves that 4G is more than enough if your internal systems and workflows are heavily optimized for bandwidth efficiency.
Okay, color me impressed. But what about the auditory friction? The reports mention the office is situated near a busy highway. You can't have a sanctuary with transport trucks blasting their horns in the background.
Again, they use simple, elegant, tech-enabled solutions. They rely on the physical barrier of just keeping the doors closed, combined with deploying headphones equipped with intelligent mic optimization.
AI noise cancellation.
Exactly. By leveraging the AI noise cancellation protocols built into software like Zoom or Google Meet, it perfectly neutralizes the highway noise without needing thousands of rupees worth of expensive acoustic paneling on the walls.
Okay, but you can't AI cancel a power outage. And this brings us to my absolute favorite detail in the entire data stack, the Litmus test.
Oh man, the grid failure. There was a total grid power blackout in the area during the morning session from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., a complete loss of municipal power.
Right.
And the lean infrastructure held up so seamlessly between the optimized laptops and the localized battery backups that the instructor didn't even notice the grid was down until the class was over. They walked out to the kitchen to make a coffee and realized the lights were off.
That is incredible.
Surviving a 2-hour grid failure completely unnoticed during an active broadcast is the absolute ultimate proof of concept.
It really is. It proves you can surgically insulate a digital environment from the unreliability of a rural physical environment. And speaking of insulation, we have to talk about physical safety. They've installed a digital sentry.
The security camera in the waiting hall.
Yes, that views the main entrance. From my perspective as the mentor, this is non-negotiable. When your entire mission is targeting a demographic of married women in rural villages, creating a vetted, highly secure space is paramount. It signals to the students, and crucially to their families, that this Gurukul respects modern physical security standards just as much as it respects traditional learning.
It creates a trusted perimeter.
Yeah.
And because they have this remote monitoring capability and these highly optimized systems, my next move as an architect would be drafting an office operations and safety SOP.
Yeah.
You codify the no buffering protocols for the 4G network, you outline the camera sign-in procedures, and you even establish kitchen etiquette.
Right. You take the sanctuary and you systematize it so it can scale. And we are already seeing distinct behavioral scaling patterns in how this sanctuary is utilized. We are seeing housewives, like a student named Vanilla, gravitating naturally toward the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. window. It is the perfect post-chore slot.
Right. Meanwhile, the working professionals were preferring the 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. evening slots.
Exactly. And we absolutely cannot ignore the cultural integration happening here. The very first student session officially launched on June 25th at precisely 5:30 p.m. Why? Because it was specifically chosen as an auspicious start time in the local culture. It perfectly marries ancient cultural timing with cutting-edge digital migration.
It's a beautiful synergy. But while the Gurukul handles those daytime operational hours, this entire ecosystem requires generative fuel. None of this exists without the architect behind it all. We need to look at Murty's personal workflow and the engine that is actually powering the morning walk philosophy.
Yes, let's look at the true inner sanctuary. It's an incredible milestone to note that they recently crossed the 100-episode mark for Morning Walk with Murty.
And with that massive volume of audio content, searchability and retrieval become a severe structural challenge. The workflow they've established to solve this is highly engineered.
Right, it's not just a bunch of audio files in a folder.
No, not at all. Raw audio goes into TurboScribe for rapid transcription. That text flows into Write.das for publishing. And finally, it is all ingested into Notion, which acts as the ultimate digital memory.
I just love the use of Notion here. But explain the mechanism a bit. How does the AI actually interact with all that archived text?
But by structuring it this way, the AI acts less like a standard search engine and more like a highly competent chief of staff. It is an entity that doesn't just blindly pull up a keyword you said a month ago, but actually understands the strategic context of why you said it, instantly synthesizing past philosophies to inform today's decisions.
Now, here is where it gets incredibly interesting to me, the environment where this high-level synthesis actually happens. We were talking about the monster sessions, running from 2.0 a.m. to 5:30 a.m.
The timing and location of those sessions are completely critical to the entire operation.
They are. These monster sessions are deliberately kept at home, completely away from the Arikirevula branch, and they are run on a specific Acer laptop. This is the true inner sanctuary. It's designed for deep work, for mental healing, for operating in what they call true dark mode. There is such a profound poetic contrast here.
Yeah, you have the dark, isolated, intensely focused, deep work, generative sessions happening at 2 a.m., and then later in the day, the active, vibrant, community-filled Gurukul takes over.
And run on a completely different machine, too, an HP Mini Elite.
From a systems auditing perspective, this perfectly segregated hardware and location strategy is brilliant. It creates impenetrable hard boundaries. It physically and digitally separates the generative, quiet, deep work from the managerial, noisy daytime work, effectively preventing burnout. Wow. And they are maximizing the utility of that 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. window. While the physical world is asleep, the AI is summarizing the previous day's VA progress from the Airtable boards. This means that the moment Murty sits down for a monster session, the feedback can be analyzed and recorded while the data is completely fresh.
It's a beautifully closed loop. But of course, no ecosystem is perfectly frictionless on day one, right? They're still smoothing out some minor technical hurdles.
Naturally. There are always integration points to refine in a migration this large. The reports mention troubleshooting some affiliate link referral code tracking issues and the ongoing process of onboarding students onto the specific tech stack.
Let's talk about that tech stack, because it isn't just generic software. They are using tools like Darkreader, Tango, and Raindrop. How do those actually solve friction for a rural student?
Well, they solve very specific micro-frictions, like Darkreader is implemented to force dark mode across all websites, drastically reducing eye strain for students staring at screens for hours.
No, that makes sense.
And Raindrop is used for bookmark management, allowing them to organize research with actual visual context, not just a list of blue links. But Tango is the real game changer here.
Right, because Tango isn't just a basic screen recorder.
Exactly. Tango actually tracks the user's clicks in real time and automatically generates visual step-by-step documentation. It turns a student's or a VA's digital action directly into a reusable, perfectly formatted SOP without them having to type a single word explaining what they did. It is automated legacy capture.
Incredible. When you synthesize all of this, when you really step back and look at the legacy code we've extracted today, what you see is an incredible synergy. You have the high-level generative philosophy of the morning walk feeding directly into the grassroots tactical execution at the Arikirevula branch.
It is the ultimate manifestation of capturing thought through AI notes and translating it into a zero Capex rural infrastructure model. I mean, they aren't just teaching digital skills. They're literally building a profound digital bridge that entirely bypasses traditional socioeconomic and geographic barriers.
Exactly. They've proven that with the right Digital Prism, a 4G connection, and a closed door, you can build a world-class Gurukul absolutely anywhere.
Anywhere at all.
For you, listening to us on this digital stroll, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Murty has engineered a frictionless environment that completely insulates his deep work from the noise of the highway and the unreliability of the power grid. As you look at your own daily grind, what friction points are you accepting as normal simply because they've always been there? And what would your own inner sanctuary actually look like if you designed it from the ground up with zero compromises?
That is the perfect question to ask.
Thank you for joining this Gurukul session. Keep extracting your own legacy code.